I think before the last record in 2016, we weren't even sure if we were going to do it again. And I think that it was almost kind of like one day, you know, Joel was like, Joel actually had told me he was never doing Good Charlotte again. And, you know, it was kind of like we felt a bit like when we started the band, you know, we were kids, came from really small town, didn't have anything, and at a certain point in your career, you almost feel like it gets taken from you and it's not even yours anymore, and it doesn't resemble what maybe you wanted it to when it started out. And I think it can be really discouraging, and it can be kind of confusing. And I think he was like, I'm done, took everything offline, took the merch offline, like there was nothing, like, you know, from us you couldn't buy anything Good Charlotte other than, you know, what was out there from, you know, labels and stuff. But like, I think
I kind of went into my last man on earth phase, grew a long beard, put on, you know, just went into reclusion, and just wanted to be
just
a
like
dad.
Was like just looking out of the curtains, like
teaching my kids.
But no, seriously, I think like we felt the need to like take it back just for ourselves, and I don't think I think we were kind of like, you know, maybe we don't really need to ever do this again. Maybe it's just whatever it is to anyone else, to us it was the thing that got us out of poverty. It was the thing that got us out of like a place that was you know, it was a tough place, and I think you can't expect anyone to view it the same way you do, but for us that was like our baby. So we kind of took it back, and we had never planned on it again. And then I think it was a lot of through working with younger bands and working with other artists that really made us kind of fall in love with it again, and made us and
it was fun.
Yeah, and then when we made that record, we were kind of talking about it earlier today. It almost felt like that record we were just kind of like dipping our toes back in the water and kind of going like, you know, swinging the bat again. And
this record was like,
yeah, we're back. I mean, I have to say, whether it was, you know, Water Parks or Chase Atlantic or Sleeping with Sirens, 5 Seconds of Summer, I mean, getting in the studio and with each one of these bands and feeling the genuine
energy
and
of artists who really care about what they're doing and want to make records. And I miss that feeling of oh wow, I'm making a record that I'm excited about. We're so lucky to get to work with so many bands that we're fans of as well. And I'd say it's really a great feeling to be around a band. Like I always say Architects is the band that every band should model themselves after, just by the way that they do things, because it's very genuine and the timing is their own.
Unapologetic, you know.
It's authentic to them, and there's not a lot of question other than like, hey, do we like this? You know, it's a very like true process, and I think seeing all that around me with all these different bands, I rediscovered our process, and that this record, Generation RX, the process was very true to itself, and there wasn't a lot of thought of how are we going to roll this out, or how's this going to be, or where's this going to go, or it was just like we started working on it and then it was done.
It feels good.
Yeah, and then we had to think about how do we want to put it out. We were thinking like, should we put this out on our own again like the last record, and then we all kind of agreed like, yeah, maybe we should find a partner who understands us, and like it's all just been true to itself. So it's to me it's just all been a process. In our old records, we were sharing our experience and commentating on the world as we saw it in an honest way that was true to then. And I think it's the same idea now. We're sharing our experience and we're commentating on the world.
It's the honesty.
That as we see it now, we are doing it with a lot more perspective, a lot more experience, a lot more ability to be vulnerable and just to open up and share. And know that, like, look, I know that the world we live in can be cynical, and that there may be people who can criticize or whatever, but I'm a lot older now, and I'm a lot more. I'm able to understand that. When I was young, it hurt my feelings, so it shut me down. Therefore, I shared less and less as the records went on, because I became affected by, it was my experience was that it was mean. Man, it wasn't their experience. I don't know if anyone was trying to be. That was my experience. And I think as I grew, I shut down. And I think getting back to a place where I could open up and go, this is what I think, this is how I feel, and I'm okay with the result, whatever it is a place that I got to now, where this record is really unfiltered, and I'm, saying some things on it that I probably wouldn't have said a few years ago, and that I might have said on the first or second record. Generation RX is dealing with most kind of directly with mental health, anxiety, subject matter that still feels, as weird as it is, still feels uncomfortable for us to share with each other as people. It's the human experience that we're all having alone. Isn't always, it's not always kind of okay to share what you're going through, and I think, or what you've struggled with. And on this record, I just opened up on most of the lyrics. I'm admitting things, saying things that are in there that I otherwise probably would have protected or hidden away from people, so that I didn't have to talk about it. So I'm sure there will be at least even just our fans admitting to them and kind of talking about experiences that we've had or have, that I think it's, again, for me, the mental health thing, I get that it's a subject right now, but the real life version of that is I have a low self-esteem, or I'm suffering from anxiety, or I have post-traumatic stress, or whatever that is. Those different things on each song are just real things that I don't think it's so comfortable for everyone to just sit around and talk about it. Yeah, and I think that it's important that we talk about it beyond it being an excuse. So I understand if I act it out and then I tell everyone that I'm having problems, I understand that. But let's go a step further and talk about therapy. Let's go a step further and talk about self-care. Let's go a step further and talk about self-love. Let's talk about compassion, empathy. What does that actually mean in real life, in real terms? If I'm being compassionate towards you, if I'm being empathetic towards you, then I'm giving you a chance to be imperfect, to make mistakes, and to let's have a back and forth dialogue on the human experience in real time. And let's give each other opportunities to share, and not just all jump on a wave and tear each other down, because that's the world we live in. It feels like things are right now. It's emotions run high, and the temperature is high, and I just think for me, the experience I've had is there is a mean world out there, but then there's also a really great world.
I had an interesting moment today, because we were talking about Shadow Boxer. Was the song video we just put out from this record, and we know what the song's about, but we haven't really talked about it that much. Okay. And we were doing an interview, and the point of the song is when you looked in the mirror today, what did you say to yourself? That's an uncomfortable question, right?
You're right.
Right, because what did you say to yourself? If you're being honest, what did you say to yourself when you looked? I know for me, if I'm being honest, I'm pretty mean to myself when I look in the mirror. You know what I mean? And I think everybody kind of is. I know if people I'm close to, when we have conversations about how we really feel about ourselves and how do we really encourage ourselves, and that's a pretty confronting question if we're really just turn the cameras off and we're just so what did you say to yourself when you looked in the mirror today? And it's that question, if you really think about it, that's the point of the song, is we're pretty, we tear ourselves down on it. Most people on a daily basis, because that's kind of...
And I feel anger, hate can be very confronting, but love is even more confronting when someone's trying to extend love to us. We can reject that a lot easier than we can fight back if someone's being mean. When Lil Peep passed, it was a very heavy moment for us, only, as older guys. As a young guy, you live your life and you're really truly living, you're living that life.
In the moment.
It's all about the music. It's all about the life. It's all about the, what you're doing at the time, the touring, whatever that is, you're in it. And you don't think about the future. You don't think, I'm going to be married one day and have 2 kids and I'm going to wake up in my house and go downstairs and have breakfast with my son and he's going to say something really that makes me think, or that makes me laugh, or that makes me feel good about myself, or all these little beautiful moments you have in life when you have kids where you just nothing else matters and you realize that there's more.
And how lucky you are to be there.
And how lucky I was to get to this side, to understand my definition of success has changed. My definition of success no longer has to do with how a song performs on the charts or how many impressions or how many streams or whatever. But when you're 21 and that's your world and you're living that life, it's just a different thing. And I'm not saying Peep in general. I'm just saying young people, I see them kind of thinking.
It's in the moment. Everything's in the moment. I think I think when Pete passed away, it hit us so hard. I think beyond what it. I think because
I was so excited about it.
And we're almost 40, and you just realize how precious life is, and you realize how precious he was, and how talented he was, and I think that the fact that he gave us so much love, we connected on that, and we were starting to get to know each other a little bit, and we were talking about possibilities of a tour, and we were really kind of just falling in love with them, and it was so it really hit us hard. I can't explain it. It was, and I think it really comes down to our age. And like Joel said, you're in these moments in your life where you're like, man, I'm really lucky to be here.
And I just think about these young kids who are full of so much talent and potential, and they have so much to give. And it just got cut short, and it just hit me really hard. And I feel like I wish I could have done something, but I know that's not life. I know that life's different than that. That's not how it works. But when I see artists who I feel like are just so talented and have a long life and career ahead of them artistically, and then I think about the person, and I think about that could have been me because when I was young, I feel like I was very similar, and I just think about it, and I wish I could do something, and so ultimately, that one just hit me hard. I don't know, every now and then, these moments happen where some of them hit you harder than others, and his passing really just hit me to the core.
Yeah.
I think maybe with the early 2000s, bands like ours, I think we may have captured a certain feeling because we were, it was an interesting time.
We were in the moment.
And we were living in a moment, and we were expressing, ourselves and I think what it meant to be young at that time. It was such a weird changeover that time, it was such a weird in-between, in between the 90s and now. That decade.
It was like the internet didn't exist. And
it did, and there was all this, it was all this new, and we lived through it, and I'm glad we lived through it. I wouldn't want to go back. I really like my life right now. But I think we were just expressing ourselves, and some things never change. Like, when you're young, you're pissed off about stuff. I think it's just, there's a vibe there that was unique to
It's
it.
a youth vibe, you know?
Yeah, and it
it's
was a
youth
unique
vibe.
time. It was just a unique time, and all that music captured it, and it's very much that time. I mean, now the only reason I want to make music is to make is to hopefully contribute something positive to the world.
That we can be proud of.
That I can be, that do something we can be proud of. I always hope my kids like it. And it's pretty simple. You know, I want to make a record that we like, that's putting something good into the world, and that I can feel happy about. That I just want to feel good about what we're doing, that it's true to us. And I always hope my kids like it. And they like some of it, they don't like all of it. Dad, this is, my son said, Dad, this is really heavy. Do you feel like that? And I was like, sometimes. And he goes, man.